Hello everybody and welcome to the very first episode of The Game King. I'm your host Brandon Alanis, and oh boy is it the perfect week to jump into covering the video games industry, as Summer Game Fest 2024 just wrapped up a couple days ago with so many exciting announcements and what might have been one of the best game showcases in the last couple of years. But first, who am I? Well, I'm just a person that really loves the video games industry and wants to talk about it and share my passion for it, even if only 3 people end up watching this. But besides that, who I am doesn't really matter because we have news and announcements to talk about. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our beautiful recap segment that we are calling Summer Game Totally Not E3 because the ESA fumbled E3 and it died a very sad, terrible death and is probably never going to return, and that breaks my heart so much because I really wanted to travel to the LA Convention Center one day and see it in person. Fest in a couple of minutes. Jeff Keighley opened up the weekend events with Summer Game Fest with so many game announcements. While I didn't think this year's showcase met the quality of last year's, I still really enjoyed some of the announcements. We'll just be ignoring whatever that Squad Busters ad that lasted 5 minutes was. So here are the highlights. LEGO Horizon Adventures was announced for PS5, PC, and the Nintendo Switch. Together with Astrobot's reveal a couple of weeks back, I am really excited to see Sony pursuing these kind of games again, and I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a spin. While it may be VR, the Arkhamverse returns with Batman Arkham Shadow. I'm definitely intrigued to see what kind of game this turns out to be in VR, and I'm actually really excited to see Roger Craig Smith back in the role as Batman in his first time since Batman Arkham Origins. Blumhouse is getting into video games. The movie studio will now start to publish games and revealed a group of 6 titles, all which look to be potentially thrilling games in the horror genre. Plus, I can't wait to see what Sam Barlow is cooking up, as Blumhouse announced they will be publishing his next project. I'd also like to highlight how awesome it is to see independent developers getting their shot at making video games. From Innersloth of Among Us fame now publishing titles, to Killer Bee being the Stranglehold sequel we all deserve, to the pure whatever you would call it of the Cuff Bus trailer. Developers are the heart of the industry and deserve to make the games they want to make. It's great to see these projects highlighted at such big events. And before we move on to our next showcase, quick shout out to Sam Lake for just being the coolest person in the world. We love you. Now, while Xbox was up next for big showcases, I want to jump ahead to Ubisoft's showcase, who showed up with their annual Ubisoft Forward. Besides their usual live service game updates on their titles, including For Honor, Rocksmith Plus, The Crew, and now XDefiant, Ubisoft's main focus was on Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Quick side note, I love the live music performances that Ubisoft had. We need more of that at not E3. And side note, the show opened with Star Wars Outlaws, and it looks fantastic. From the arcade game we see being played at the beginning, to the environment details, to the blaster sounds, Massive seems to have nailed the Star Wars feeling. I also love the fact that Ubisoft let the gameplay speak for itself with that extended look. I also think the relationship between Kay and Nitz looks great, and hopefully continues the trend of great companions in Star Wars games that the Jedi games set with Cal and BD-1. My only concern stands with the ship combat, but that may have just been the demo. I also hope the reputation system is as deep as they are teasing. Other than that, Outlaws was easily my highlight of the show. Ubisoft also gave us some Prince of Persia love, with updates coming to both The Lost Crown and the recently released The Rogue Prince of Persia. Of course, the bigger announcement was that the Sands of Time remake is now set to release in 2026 after restarting development in 2023. Looking forward to that. The big show closer was Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think the dual protagonist setup with Yasuke and Naoe looks really fun and should lead to a pretty compelling story dynamic. While the game does look like just more Assassin's Creed, I think the studio is doing a great job of blending the more classic series style with Naoe's gameplay with the more modern series style in Yasuke. I think Shadows will end up surprising people, so I am very excited. Also, shout out to the Stormtroopers at the end. I see you. The biggest show of the weekend was easily the Xbox Games Showcase. Xbox has been having what some may call a rough year, so seeing them show up with one of the best showcases we've had in years was great to see. Remember everyone, competition is good. Let's get to my highlights. A big part of the show was Call of Duty Black Ops 6. The campaign seems to be shaping up as something special, and with the new Omni Movement system, this may be the first Call of Duty I play in a while. Also, great to see Phil Spencer announcing the end of exclusive content on all platforms. id Software is back with another Doom in Doom the Dark Ages. This trailer is amazing and sets the standard for a good video game trailer. From the gun you reload with skulls, the shield that is more weapon than shield, and the dragon you can ride, I am totally sold on this new game. Compulsion is cooking up something amazing with South of Midnight. As a huge stop-motion animation fan, the aesthetics and graphics are on display here are just stunning. And how about Fable? Playground Games has yet to make a bad game, and I fully believe they are going to nail this one. My biggest worry about Fable was its art direction, and after seeing what I believe may be Bower Stone, my excitement just keeps on rising. While we're on the topic of RPGs, Avowed looks like it's shaping up to be another Obsidian classic. I'm absolutely in love with the style oozing from the game so far, and will be their day one this fall. As for my personal favorite things shown off, Perfect Dark and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle are my literal dreams come to life. Machine Games has shown us that they get Indiana Jones. I have seen some worries about the gameplay being a little weak, but their Wolfenstein trilogy gives me a lot of reassurance that we're in good hands. And Perfect Dark looks like everything I was hoping it would be. One of the key features of the N64 original is the openness of approaching levels and letting players solve it on their own. Translating this into what looks like an immersive sim, light mixed with Mirror's Edge is just perfect. In other smaller highlights, shout out to the Elder Scrolls Online trailer with We Belong as its background track. That's a 10 out of 10 trailer for an MMO that's 10 years old. Of course, I can't go without mentioning Expedition 33, which looks like the modern Final Fantasy game I've been dreaming of since 10 on the PS2. Life is Strange Double Exposure, Atomfall, Mixtape, Flintlock The Siege of Dawn, Starfield Shattered Space Expansion. I actually really like Starfield and think it's like a 9 out of 10. Anyways, and of course, the big closer with Gears of War E-Day. So good to see Dom and Marcus back together again. Xbox delivered an amazing showcase and really made this year's summer, again, not E3 because that is dead, Game Fest, really special. And with that, we close out our very first episode. I hope to see you all back again here next week with some more games industry updates and news. I mean, hopefully next week. Although we are entering what is usually a dry spell for the games industry, so maybe this wasn't the best time to launch a new show about video game news. This has been The Game Ping, and I'll see you all soon.